this is a question I get quite frequently, which is, what do I do if I have tenants? What do I do if I have a rental property? How do I handle that situation? Well, first and foremost, I always explain to my clients that first you're going to have to explain to your renters and tenants that the property is going to be put up for sale, and that it's going to be up to you and it's going to be your responsibility to make sure that they're going to comply with the transaction. And by that I mean they're going to have to allow buyers through the property with 24-hour notice to be able to see it so that they can determine whether or not they're going to write an offer. And lastly, and probably most importantly, you have to understand and make sure that they are agreeable to moving out when the bank issues the short sale approval letter and states that the tenants need to move out. So, a couple of tips about that. One, I always recommend that homeowners are upfront and honest with their renters. Don't hide anything from them. Let them know from the get-go that the property is going to be sold and that they're eventually going to move out. Secondly, it's up to you to determine whether or not you want to tell them if it's a short sale or not. It's not required, but it can provide some benefit in the sense that tenants understand that the short sale process does take some time. And so with that being said, many times we as a real estate brokerage will communicate with the tenants and let them know where we're at in the transaction. We'll let them know that they're looking at 3 months out, 2 months out, and then eventually when it's 30 days that it is that they need to move out. So it can be beneficial from that standpoint, and they may choose to stay in the property while this transaction is going on. Sometimes, tenants don't want to be cooperative. At that particular juncture, you have a couple of different options. One is to kick them out if they're not on a lease and ask them to leave before the transaction is completed. Or you might do something a little bit softer, such as seeing if you can give any concessions to them. Many people I've worked with before have offered their tenants a reduction in rent, maybe $100 or $200 or $300, whatever it is on a monthly basis, so that the tenants are cooperative in having showings and that they move out in the time that they're supposed to. That can many times incentivize them to cooperate with the process. They're getting a reduced below market value rent, and it's beneficial to them and everybody else involved. If they're going to be uncooperative, then it's in your best interest to try and get them out of the property as soon as you can so that there aren't any problems. If we do structure a short sale deal and get an approval, but then the buyers don't move out, well then it causes a lot of complications with the transaction, such that the buyers might not be willing to move forward while the tenants are still in the property, and you might lose your opportunity to do a short sale and it might result in a foreclosure. So structuring these things and speaking with your tenants in the very beginning is probably one of the most important things to consider, okay? The next thing you need to take a look at is whether or not you do have a lease in place. If they have a lease in place that does extend to several months past the possibility of getting this transaction completed, then they are legally allowed to stay in the property, and any prospective buyer would have to inherit those tenants. So a couple of things about that again. One, you could wait to do a short sale. Two, we could attempt to do a short sale, but we would have to find buyers that were agreeable to keeping those tenants in there through the end of the lease. Or three, again, you could try to incentivize them, maybe give them a month free, maybe give them a reduction of rent or something along those lines in order to break their lease and move out a little bit quicker. You as a homeowner are going to know your tenants better than myself or anybody else, and so you're going to know a little bit more about how to deal with them and how to approach them. If you have a property manager involved, well then you're going to leave this to them as far as negotiating ending the contract, getting them to move out, a reduction in rent, and all of those things. If you have any further questions about the situation, give me a call. I'll give you a free consultation. We can talk about the matter and then kind of come up with a game plan about how we're going to deal with your particular tenants. But those are some of the basics and to take into consideration. My name is Kurt Wannebo with San Diego Real Estate and Investments, also known as Short Sale Kurt. Again, give me a call anytime for a free consultation. Thank you very much for watching this video.